So I was born and raised in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. In fact, when I was a kid, I didn't respect the small town vibes I had watching the Twin Towers fall on the television because I get a phone call and it says, "Hey, America's under attack." And I was like, "What?" They're like, "Turn on the news." And as I turned on the news, I saw on the news the second plane strike the tower. I just remember thinking to myself, like, what is going on? I was with 1st Recon Battalion between 2004 and 2008. It was an interesting time in the recon community because I was there when they disbanded force altogether.
Oh, wow.
Then they were in the process of standing up MARSOC, and then they re-stood up force. So it was a very volatile time for the recon community, but everything stabilized itself out.
Yeah, and let me ask you this. Well, I guess I think it'd be good just to give everybody a good snapshot of like who you are and like your experience. Let's kind of start back at kind of like the earlier parts of your life, and then we'll work our way up. I kind of want to talk a little bit about like where you grew up, what your life was like leading up to your time in the Marine Corps, what your experiences in the Marine Corps were, and then some of your post-service stuff. Because obviously, I definitely want to get into the post-service stuff because you've got a lot of really cool stuff going on right now, especially with the world traveling and the things going on in Ukraine that some people are going to find very fascinating, and you're going to start seeing footage of some of their stuff out there probably being used to defend themselves from drones and things like that. So, but yeah, so to kind of get started, what state did you grow up in?
So I was born and raised in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho.
Okay, so you were from Idaho originally.
Yeah, exactly. I'm a native, so not a transplant.
Yeah, yeah. And you grew up, Coeur d'Alene, is that country or?
Yeah, so it's up north. It's in the Panhandle. So we're like right in the middle of both Washington and Montana.
That little sliver up there.
Exactly.
Is it mountainous? Pretty mountainous up there?
Yeah, it's a beautiful area, a bunch of lakes. I should redact what I just said. A beautiful area. It's terrible. No one wants to come visit.
Don't come there. Exactly. Do not come.
But now it's grown so much from when I was a kid. In fact, when I was a kid, I didn't respect the small town vibes it had. We didn't lock our doors. People knew everybody. The city was quiet at night. It was honestly, when I look back to it now, I'm like, man, that was a way to grow up.
Dude, it sounds so amazing. The older I get, the more I really appreciate small town vibes like what you're describing, because I can't stand living in cities, dude. I hate living in cities. There's too much crime. It's too much noise. There's more air pollution typically. There's so many people. There's too much traffic. It's more expensive. I prefer living in the country. And when I retire, eventually, I plan on being. And not only that, but like the mountains too. Like,
yes,
there's something about the mountains, man. And I tell people this all the time. There's something about it that makes me feel truly at home. I've never felt more at home than anywhere but the mountains. Even if it's the Rockies or the Appalachians. For me, it's the Appalachians. That's just where I've spent most of my time. But there's just something about it that's like ingrained in my DNA that just tells me this is where you need to live. This is where you need to spend your days in your life, and so I have a deep appreciation for that. Did you go through like elementary school, middle school, high school there?
Yeah, I went through all of it there. When I got out of high school, I wasn't really sure what I was going to do, so I went off to college in Western Washington University.
Okay.
Chasing my high school girlfriend at the time, but that didn't work out, and neither did college. So moved back home. It wasn't really wanting to do college anyways, but didn't know what I wanted to do. In fact, when I got out of high school, when I was leaving high school, my buddy and I, we met each other like the second day of kindergarten.
Yeah.
And we've been friends ever since. And when we were getting out of high school, I was like, hey, let's go join the military. So we went down to the downtown local recruiting office. I did this by myself, scouting it out.
Yeah.
And so I walk into the Air Force and I was like, hey guys, what do you guys have here? I'd been all over movies like Sniper, all the Steven Seagal movies, everything. I knew I wanted to be in the military. We made our own ghillie suits as kids. We even made our own camouflage paint where we would take lotion and food dye and bubble tape containers and take it out and we'd reapply. And like I was like way obsessed with a lot of this as a kid.
No kidding. You played like
paintball, and airsoft wasn't even a thing, so we just paintballed the hell out of each other. We even came up with a game to make it harder on each other where we send one guy out and we called him the Predator. And so he could get shot once in the body or once in the head, but 2 times in the limbs.
Okay.
And so he would go out and then you'd send 6 or 8 guys out to hunt that one predator, and we would fight each other like that. And so because capture the flag became boring.
Yeah. That's a fun game for kids to play though. Like,
Yeah.
cause like you're like, hey, go out there and like we're gonna try to hunt you down, and your job is to try to hunt us down or pick us off or something. And as a kid, like, and you're outdoors, you're in the woods,
Yes.
you're probably in the tree line, like
Yep.
you're getting out, doing stuff outside with each other.
Yep.
Like that's what a great way to grow up, man. As opposed to like, hey, we're gonna just all doom scroll all the time. You know?
Yeah,
like,
we even made dreadlocks kind of like a ghillie head.
Oh, really?
In our masks, and yeah, we really got into it. In fact, I didn't realize what this next game we came up with was Marco Polo 2. So my buddy had a pool, and it was like a shallow into a deep end. It wasn't like, you know, the play pools that just have the deep end in the middle. It was kind of like, I don't know, more of a what you'd see on an Olympic style pool, or not Olympic, but it's just shallow and it goes to a deep end. Anyways,
yeah.
So we only had like 3 or 4 guys to play Marco Polo. Well, when we got up to like a 1.5 to 2 minute breath holds, Marco Polo became very quiet. Because you'd just be treading water going, Marco, and everybody's just holding their breath under the water. And we got really good at it. So we came up with another version of it, which was you had to retrieve dive things, so things in the shallow end. So you have 2 people in the deep end. One person's the guy defending his items on the ground. And so you'd have to swim into the shallow end. Well, that did 2 things. One, you had to learn how to swim stealthily, retrieve one item, and then exit without breaking the surface and maintaining, you know, good discipline under the water.
Yeah.
And so we did that, and man, I didn't even realize it, but when I went into the Air Force guy, to the recruiter, and I said, hey, what's Air Force Special Forces look like? Because I think I want to give that a go. And he goes, well, that's going to be like pararescue. And his first question was, can you swim? And I was like, well, I mean, I play Marco Polo.
Yeah. Well, I've been playing Marco Polo for a long time.
Yeah, and he goes, well, that's the wrong kind of polo that you need to be playing. So anyways, he kind of discouraged me there. And so I left and I went over to the Army, and the Army at the time was like, and this is like 1999, 2000. It was not in 2000.
Okay. And you were 18 or 19?
Yeah, 18.
Okay.
So he says in the Army, they're like, well, we'll give you a signing bonus. And I don't remember what it was, like $5,000 or something at the time.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, well, that sounds pretty good. And he's like, yeah, we have snipers, we have special forces, we have Green Berets, we have all the things that you would want to be part of. And I was like, all right, well, this might be for me.
Yeah.
I go into the Marine Corps recruiter, and I was like, hey, I just left the Army's office. They're offering $5,000. What do you guys offer? The title Marine. I was like, fuck, okay. Yeah, that's all I needed.
Damn. Well, you drive a hard bargain.
Yes. Basically pulled on the heartstrings and was like, no, listen, you can go in for money, or you can go in for pride, honor, and a commitment to your community and your country. And I was like,
damn.
And he goes, and we do everything better than them. You want to be a sniper? There's nothing better than a scout sniper. And I was like, yeah, you're right. That's all I ever heard about, scout snipers. So that's actually why I joined the service, but I didn't join then. My buddy, I tried to get him committed to come in with me and join the same time, because we've been friends since kindergarten. It'd be awesome to serve together with him.
Yeah.
So he was like, I'm going off to college. So I just picked the college, went off, failed, came back, and then 9/11 kicked off my second year of college.
Oh, wow.
And watching the Twin Towers fall on the television, because I get a phone call and it says, hey, America's under attack. And I was like, what? They're like, turn on the news. And as I turned on the news, I saw on the news the second plane strike the tower. I just remember thinking to myself, like, what is going on? Like, never imagined that would be a real thing that we would have to witness in America.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, man, that's one of the weird things for me is, like, I was a freshman in high school when that happened, and I watched it on the TV in the classroom, and I remember very clearly, I was in Algebra 2 at the time, and I remember watching it. And there were some people that were like reacting, like they were acting like joking around about it, thinking it was a joke. There were some people like acting like animals, typically folks that were like more impoverished and stuff like that, you know, just kind of like treating it as if it was a joke or if it was like not some serious stuff. And it's weird thinking now, like there's a lot of folks in the military that grew up, that were born after 9/11 that never experienced that, like guys that were closer to our age. And so that's been a very consistent trend across the GWAT community, especially guys that grew up in the 90s or maybe the late 80s, and they saw that happen or transpire in real time while they're in high school or college or whatever. And that's a big reason why a lot of guys in the GWAT joined in the first place, was seeing that and thinking, I got to do something.
100%.
This right here this is my why, and this is our why. Now, granted, okay, there's a lot of people, internet sleuths out there that have been like looking into that and want to try to say that there's like some conspiracy theories. Not really interested in that stuff as much as I am the fact that a lot of guys saw that and they're like, this is why I'm going to join, and that has been a very consistent thing. So,
yep, I grew up in America believing wholeheartedly in our Constitution, our republic, not a democracy. Many will confuse those two words.
Yeah, don't conflate it.
Yeah, don't. Yeah, exactly. It is a republic, and if you're not educated enough to know the difference, I challenge you all to go figure that out, because democracy is not what we are. We're a republic for a good reason. Yeah. But understanding what it is, what it means to serve, what it is to sacrifice, those are the things that to give yourself. I mean, when you look back in history and, whether it's just watching a Hollywood movie, Saving Private Ryan, and you see historical accounts or representations of historical accounts of what people would be willing to put themselves through for a righteous cause. And when 9/11 happened, the story, the narrative which was presented, it was a righteous cause to go and defend ourselves back against somebody who had basically put a plot together to kill 3,000 people on American soil. Yeah. So I was committed to that, and I would die for this country, for our republic, and I would die for our people to ensure that a future generation wouldn't have to go through that. And I'm fully committed even today to do that as well. Yeah. So back then I had the same commitment. However, I was stuck in college. I'd already committed a bunch of money, and so I told my buddy, because he called me up shortly after 9/11. We're back in the school semester, and he says, "Hey, I'm joining." And I said, "Of course, I want to join.
Of course,
let's go.
Of course."
And so I said, but I'm going to finish out the semester. And anyways, what happened is he ended up going and getting in the delayed entry program, and then after about a week, the Marine Corps needed people seriously, and so they were just basically, if you could put people in container boxes and ship them into MCRD, they were doing that. Oh, wow. And so he basically got an earlier slot, and he called me up. He's like, "Hey, I'm going in next week." I was like, "Dude, we talked about it. And let's get through the semester." He's like, "No, I'm going right now. I'm mid-semester. I'm out." Yeah. So I stayed, and stayed in the semester, and did not end well for me. I ended up getting booted out for poor GPA.
Why do you think your GPA was suffering?
Well, I suffered because I was, eating mid-rats, playing Counter-Strike, and I wasn't focusing on college.
Eating mid-rats? Mid-rats, eating Reese's peanut butter cups and playing Counter-Strike?
Yeah, going in and just eating pizza and hamburgers at the midnight chow line. So, yeah, just not good choices. It was my first time actually even having a computer as a kid. I didn't have one, and getting able to play on a LAN system with other people in Counter-Strike, I was like, dude, this is crazy. Like the Half-Life, the game Half-Life is kind of what Counter-Strike was based on. And anyways, I got addicted to that, and rather than I didn't really care about. I didn't want to go to college anyways. So got home, got myself rebased. My buddy ended up going and serving with was it 3-5? Yeah, 3-5, and he ended up getting deployed to the push of Afghanistan. So he into the
in 2001.
Yeah,
he was in 3-5 during that original push up to, what was it? Fob Rhino, is that what it was called?
Yeah, and he told me some crazy stories.
I bet I can't imagine what that was like.
Well, he was a small gunner, so he was. I don't remember if he carried the rockets or he carried the launcher, but he was only issued an M9 pistol.
And then he was a 0351.
Yes.
Wow.
And when they went to Fallujah, they're basically all online, and they're like, "Okay, guys," and it's just big open area, and they're like, "We got to assault Fallujah. Go." And they were like, "I'm up. He sees me. I'm down."
On the way to the city.
Pistol in hand. I'm up. He sees me. I'm down. In full mop gear.
God.
So
mop 4.
Yeah. Mask, clothes, the gloves, everything. And he told me, he's like, "It sounds like a belt being whipped when the bullets start ricocheting right by you." And he's like, "And you just count it out. I'm up. He sees me. I'm down." And I said, "And you did that with a pistol?" He goes, "Yeah." So they finally get to a canal, the big water areas that all concrete, and there's just a pile of mop gear. So he says,
because people were just dumping.
They're like, "This clearly, I'm going to die wearing all this shit if I don't get out of it." So they just made a huge stockpile of mop level.
Wow.
So he tore everything off, got himself situated, and then Then it was on like Donkey Kong for him.